going well for you, whatever you're doing. My name is Stephen Malindra, and the program is Africa Speaks. Now, does Africa need renewable energy? And where should it come from? Is a question in today's program. With the world so polluted and environmental organizations running around the entire 5 continents wanting us to go for renewable energy, should Africa embrace renewable energy? Is it in our interest to do so? My guest today will explain something connected to that, in a sense, because he's been in the industry for almost over 20 years. Chris Dampare, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, the question is, does Africa really need... first and foremost, explain to us how you come about to be an industrialist and the director of the company that you work for, and being in a position that you're in.
It was probably around about the early 90s.
Yeah.
I happened to come across my first solar gadget.
All right.
It was a little torch, with a solar panel on it.
Okay.
And then within the handle, was a battery.
All right.
And I was really fascinated by it. And I thought, my goodness, what a wonderful product. A product that runs on the sun.
Yeah.
Because basically, instead of plugging it into a wall to charge it, you just leave it outside in the sun.
It heats up?
It doesn't
Stores,
actually heat up, but
yeah.
it actually collects the sun's light, and it converts the light into electricity.
Okay.
Which charges the battery,
yeah,
and then turns on the light.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I really like to do a business with this product. So that's the beginning. That was beginning of my interest in solar technology. So I read around it and explored it. And to cut a long story short, by 1997, I had already taken my first solar product to Ghana.
Okay.
And I thought Africa was the best place, because when it comes to solar energy, Africa has more solar energy than any other country.
We have too much sun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I said, I'm going to do this for real, so I actually set up a company.
In Ghana? Or here?
In the UK.
All right.
And then later on in other parts of Africa,
okay.
as the business expanded. So,
yeah.
So that's how I got into it.
That's how you got into the business. Yeah. Now, the key question is, we are not the biggest polluters. We are not the biggest polluters, but we are being asked to embrace solar energy, and we are being asked to go for green energy, in a sense that the world has got to go green. But the biggest polluters are China, America, and of course the entire West. Do we really need? I know you need to make. You're a businessman. You need to make a living, and it's really embracing. But do we really need it?
Well, here's the thing. If a country wants to develop, it needs power. It needs energy to develop. The faster the pace of your development, the more energy you need. Electricity happens to be one of the cleanest and easiest forms of energy to use in this world. You can use electricity for anything, from lighting to heating to cooling. Electricity does it all.
Yeah.
But the question is, so there is no doubt that every country needs electricity to grow. We consume a lot of electricity in this world, but here's the thing. How do you produce that energy? How do you produce that electricity?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to answer your question. Does Africa need renewable energy? The answer to your question, we already have renewable energy.
Oh,
so
right.
for us, the renewable energy has been given to us as a gift from God. We don't have to dig into the ground
to get it,
to mine it. We don't have to create any wonderful machines.
Yeah.
The light is free.
Yeah.
And there's something interesting I have to tell you, that the sun as we see it is so powerful that just 1% of the sun's energy can power the entire earth.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if Africa has all this energy and Africa wants to grow, Africa wants to develop, nobody really has to come and tell us that you have to use renewable energy, because we should be using it.
Yeah.
As a matter of course. It should not even be up for debate.
Yeah. But
because we have it.
The question is now, who should pay for it? We are we don't put I'm looking at it from an angle of the fact that the biggest polluters are selling us the renewable energy, and yet they do the pollution. So they should cut down their prices for us to take renewable energy. Shouldn't it be that way? Because China is trying to argue that their case.
May I look at it from another angle?
Okay.
We don't have to buy renewable energy from anybody.
Yeah.
We have it. And the technology for making renewable energy or solar energy is not that complicated.
No, really?
No, I can explain to you because I actually brought some props with me.
Okay.
If you like.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. This thing that you see here.
Yeah.
This is a solar panel.
All right. Yeah.
It's made from silicon, which is actually sand.
Sand.
Yes. You know, it's a compound of silicon.
All right.
That makes a solar panel.
Okay.
So it's not that difficult to make. Once you learn the technique, actually, you can even make your own solar panels.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not that difficult to make. And this solar panel, what it does, it converts light into electricity.
Okay.
That's what it does.
Yeah.
Just the light. So it's not even the heat of the sun, but the light of the sun.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That it converts to electricity.
Yeah.
And so, why can't Africans make their own solar panels?
All right.
Okay?
Yes, that's a good question.
Yeah. Do you see it?
Yeah,
and it's not even difficult to make. It's very easy to make it, because all you need to do is you need to melt, silicon compounds and then make it into some sort of ingot, like a loaf of bread, and then you just slice the ingots. And basically, you slice the wafers, very thin slices, and that's what you make the solar panels out of.
Yeah. Right. The reason why I'm saying that the West should be the ones paying for it, in a sense that if we're to make it, the West should pay us, because to pay us to make them, in a sense that they are doing the pollution. If they are doing most of the pollution, it's coming to us, we who are doing less pollution.
But here's my point.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take the pollution argument even out of it completely.
Okay.
I'm just trying to say that we have the sun.
Yeah.
We have the energy, whether pollution or no pollution, we have it.
Yeah.
And we have to make use of it. And we have all the solar energy that we need to run the entire continent without oil, without diesel, without, even without hydro. Because you've got to realize that hydro is also quite destructive in terms of the landscape and environmental impact.
Now, wherever you've tried to take it, you've taken it to Ghana, you've taken it to Sierra Leone, you've taken it to Nigeria, you've taken it to various other African countries. What are the difficulties of getting it there? Because if it's that easy to make, then these whole countries would be, by now, we really wouldn't be, Africa would have developed its own electricity in a way. Because I hear the pollution in Nigeria and I say, hang on a minute. Somebody talked about Lagos, and someone talked about even China now. There are certain cities where people are actually blocking their nose when they're going to work or even indoors, because asthma is on a rise, and it's probably on a rise in Nigeria. So if it's that cheap, why isn't it spreading?
It's one of the mysteries
of
the industry. Maybe that's an area that I myself have looked at it.
Okay.
In terms of building factories in Africa where we can actually make the solar panels. Because once we're making the solar panel, because mind you, when we import solar equipment into African countries, apart from a couple of countries, Liberia, has a free port, but in Nigeria, for example, the duty and clearing is 25% of the invoice price.
All right.
Do you see it? So it means we're paying a lot of duty on imports. We're importing the solar panels, inverters, batteries, and so on. So we need to develop, if Africa is really serious, we need to develop solar academies.
Okay.
Where our engineers coming out of university without jobs should be put into these academies and build the solar panels, build the inverters, and build the batteries in Africa.
Yeah.
And then we will not be importing, like you're saying,
Yeah.
they should be paying for it. Nobody has to pay us. We should just develop the continent with the resources that we have. So we can make the solar panels, we can make inverters, we can make batteries. The technology is there. University students go to universities to study these things, and they know how to make it.
So it comes back to the politician now, because politicians are the main everything, or the traders or the business people who haven't really discovered that there's money to be made in this kind of maybe somewhere along the way. That's why we always push this thing to the politicians, because if it's not encouraged in schools, if it's not encouraged in the various fields which are existing in Africa, people end up by saying, "Why do we need it?"
Yeah, I'll give you a very good example. 50% of all the solar installations in the world, and mind you, in the world at the moment, we're installing 40,000 solar panels an hour.
Wow.
An hour in the world at the moment. That's the rate. 50% of it goes to China.
To China?
Yeah, because China makes most of the solar panels in the world.
Yeah, okay.
So you can look at the example of China. They're building their own solar panels, and they're growing the solar industry with their own solar panels. So for that reason, the cost per kilowatt hour is very cheap. It's China, very low for them, of course, because they make their own panels.
Oh yeah.
But why is Africa developing with solar panels and inverters and batteries that are made abroad? The technology to make batteries is over 100 years old.
Yeah, it's been there.
The already, technology to make solar panels is 100 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
So inverters are basically just electronic equipment that control how the electricity is handled.
Okay.
We can make these things. So I think we need a political will.
Yeah, we need a political will.
And a vision for somebody to say, why is Africa buying solar panels? Why is Africa growing a solar market with imported products? But that's the question politicians have to answer.
Okay. Now, when you moved around, you've gone to schools to try and teach schools and the importance of the solar panel, and you've been around, you've gone there and you've seen. Now, other than the politicians, it seems other people are not well educated in terms of with the knowledge of the use of solar panel. They know that they're there. Like I can say from Uganda, I know that the panels are there and the country has got them. But they don't seem to be something, as you say, the political will. Somebody to give education, somebody to take them and say, look, try it and see whether you like it, you take it. Or let me take my cell phone and build it. There are billionaires in Africa, but other than the government, there are people who could have taken this on board.
Then there's something else.
Yeah.
Within the industry itself, within Africa itself, people have a tendency to look down on products that are actually manufactured in Africa.
Really?
Yeah, so we need to get over that barrier as well. Because people think that if your solar panel is made abroad, or the inverter, there are established brands of inverters around the world.
Yeah.
Like SMA inverters, or Fronius or something like that. But these people know these brands, and when people are building solar systems in Africa, their first choice is to go for the solar panel brands. They know the inverter brands, they know, and the battery brands. They know. So we need to start with the embryonic industry, the little that we have. We need to gradually develop, just like China did.
But I think it all comes down to education again.
And I think maybe entrepreneurs like myself should also probably take the initiative. The government is not going to do it, and we can set up some of these solar academies. And I actually do have a vision of doing that, where we set up a solar academy.
Okay.
And a lot of our engineers that are coming out of university, electrical engineer, electronic engineer with no jobs, will actually go into these places, and we will manufacture. We can manufacture, these things.
Because the reason I was asking that
we can increase the penetration.
As you're saying, Rwanda has started making phones, which is 100% made in Rwanda. The phones that have come out. Now, the problem they're discovering now is that most people are not interested in the brand which is made in Rwanda now. They're interested in a brand. Now, the government is trying to think of importing any of the new phones that are coming from abroad, so that they can have their industry can grow. Now, I have a belief it's something similar. If the panels are going to be made in Africa, education has to be the key. Absolutely. As you're saying. People need to be educated on the use of the panels and said, look, this is how it is. We need this. And maybe even cut off the generators and stuff like that, which are polluting.
Absolutely. It is really mind-boggling that in certain countries, everybody has a diesel generator or a petrol generator.
Yeah.
And we're pushing out so much smoke
Yeah.
into the skies when already we have a solution. The sun is for free.
Yeah.
Okay. There are obviously weaknesses with the solar system. The reason why people go for
The generators there.
for generators, because the sun obviously only shines during the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and we call something peak sun hours, which means that how many hours that you get real sunshine that is strong enough to produce electricity.
Okay.
So in that case, one peak sun hours, you have 1 kilowatt of sun energy hitting a square meter
Okay.
of space in an hour. And in Africa, we have between 3 to 6 peak sun hours a day.
Okay.
But even in the best locations, you're not going to get more than 5 to 6 hours really good quality sunshine in a day. So most of these huge solar farms that people are building, and they're building them at a massive rate, because there's actually an oversupply of solar panels in the world at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's actually driving prices down. I mean, when I first entered the industry, solar panels cost $5 per watt.
Wow.
Yeah, and now solar panels cost about 30 cents per watt.
Oh, well, cool. Okay.
See?
Yeah.
So a lot has happened in 25 years. But right now the situation is so much worse because there's so much oversupply. In this part of the world, when the subsidies were cut,
Yeah.
all the solar companies that were installing solar panels for free on people's buildings,
Yeah.
a lot of those companies went out of business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the subsidies were cut. The industry was no longer attractive. So people just got out of the industry. And there's a lot of oversupply of panels in Europe, in Asia. And where do you take these panels? To Africa.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so they're driving down the price of solar installations. But solar has its weakness. You need to store it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. The storage capacity. Yeah.
In the daytime, but people need electricity at night.
Yeah.
School children need to do their homework. We need to light our streets. We need to light our homes at night.
Yeah.
Air conditioning. All sorts of things. So that brings in batteries, and storage is very expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
So batteries make solar systems very expensive. So because that right now, I'm working with a company in the US, called EcoGen, and we developed a new technology that actually uses only a few solar panels, not as many as if when you have a solar farm, but the energy is produced 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. This is brand new technology that that I'm introducing to African markets at the moment. And I'm already talking to some governments about it. But I think that's going to be a world changer.
Okay. Now, how about using normal if you can't use the sun's rays and you use fire, for example? Can fire, if the heat is existing in a place, can heat heat up the solar panel?
No,
just normal heat.
The solar panel needs light.
It needs light.
So this solar panel will actually produce electricity in this room with the studio lights.
Okay.
So it
with the studio lights.
Yeah, with the studio light, it will produce electricity. Yeah.
Okay.
So the electricity is produced from the light, not from the heat.
Not from the heat. Okay.
In fact, there are certain solar panels that start to underperform when they're too hot.
Okay.
Yeah, like monocrystalline panels, for example, they don't like to be heated too much.
Okay.
When they get hot, efficiency drops.
All right.
So the solar panels work with light, not with heat.
Okay.
But I have to say that there are other solar systems that work with heat.
Yeah,
but they're not solar panels.
The reason why I asked that, because I saw somebody who had a bike, and it is fitted with when he rides, it's heated up, and it heats up the panel. And I was wondering, how does it work?
It doesn't heat up the panel.
Oh, something happens. Something from when the harder he rides, something produces.
If he rides a bicycle, then he's got a generator. He's got a motor.
Okay.
That is spinning. That's producing electricity. So
Okay.
motors spin to produce electricity. That's a regular generator. Like the alternator in your car.
Okay.
So
okay.
it works on motion.
All right.
So when the engine drive belt turns, the alternator turns and produce. That's just how normal diesel generators and petrol generators they work. There's a magnet
Okay.
in the motor that spins around, produce electricity.
Okay.
But my new technology has a combination of solar and magnets that are spinning, and lithium-ion batteries.
Right.
So this is brand new technology.
The thing is, in countries that you've been, Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Liberia, all these countries, what seems to be, they would be packed with solar panels. What seems to be the biggest problem, other than just importing them or something?
The number one problem I can tell you about is actually infrastructure.
All right.
We can generate as much electricity as we want with very large solar farms. But if the infrastructure is not there to transport the electricity to the people that need to use them, we have a problem. I'm working with a country now I wouldn't like to mention. But one of the problems that we have at the moment is because they want electricity to go to some rural areas.
Yeah.
But there's no infrastructure.
Okay.
There's no cabling. There's no. There are no transformers. There's nothing. And so the infrastructure.
They expect you to bring all these things.
They want us to install the infrastructure, and for just a few towns alone, it's going to cost about $300 million.
Whoa!
So you have there is no infrastructure, and where there's infrastructure, the infrastructure is old.
Yeah.
So the cabling is old.
They haven't upgraded anything.
Transformers are old. They've got legacy software, and so it's a huge cost of infrastructure. Means that even if Africa is generating electricity at a phenomenal rate, we still have to worry about sometimes the infrastructure is not strong enough to carry all this electricity that's being produced.
Okay, because as you're saying,
the second thing is financial.
Oh yeah, financial.
The upfront cost of solar systems in the long run are very economical.
Yeah.
You're talking about most solar systems will pay for themselves within 20 to 25 years.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's only generating electricity for 5 to 6 hours a day. Now, as I was saying to you, I have technology that works 24 hours. So you're going to be paying for it much quicker than with just a solar system alone, because you're going to be generating the money 24 hours a day instead of 5 or 6 hours a day.
Because the idea now is here. If you start up a project whereby you introduce this and then say, okay, I'll need my money in the next maybe 15 years, in a year's time or something like that. And the panels could generate electricity. Say if it's a market, for example. And I'm trying to find a way in which we can generate the money enough from Africa, from the panels from Africa, rather than getting the money in, because as you're saying, the infrastructure is a difficult problem. But if people can within their own center say, okay, bring it to us, this is how much we'll be giving you a month. Can that work?
Are you talking about investors?
Yeah.
That's the business model.
Yeah.
So you have the IPPs who are called independent power producers.
All right.
They're private companies like mine, and basically we generate the electricity. The electricity is then bought by government agencies through what is called a power purchase agreement.
All right.
Where they agree to buy the electricity from the independent power producers at an agreed price.
Okay.
So for example, 6 cents, 7 cents, or 10 cents per kilowatt hour.
All right.
So that's in a contract, a special contract called a PPA.
Okay.
So, but the initial investment has to be put forward by an investor. So investor is going to sit down and he's going to do his arithmetic, and he's going to calculate whether he or she will be able to make the money over the period that he or she is comfortable with. If the investor is not comfortable with the period and with the risk,
there's a big risk. There's a big risk.
Now, where the infrastructure is weak or the infrastructure is poor, the investor cannot be assured that even when the energy is produced, it will reach
the very end it's supposed to go.
And therefore, then they're not going to be. Nothing will be recorded that the energy has reached such a person, and therefore, they're going to be paid for the energy. So sometimes, the investors are also a bit reluctant to come into Africa because they see Africa as a risk.
It's a big risk.
We've put a lot of money into one country now, where we've been developing that market for a while, and then we went out to raise money for the project, and the investors told us plainly that the risk is too high.
So it wasn't going to gamble.
So there are a number of issues. The third issue, of course, that contributes to the cost is the fact that most of the components we're using are imported. So that brings us back to the point where we're saying if only we could make those things ourselves, then we could reduce that risk, and then maybe the level of investment required will also be much lower.
So if you are to invest, the first thing that one listening to us now, who is an investor and is interested in the solar panels, the first thing to think about are the spare parts, the things which are used, the storage for capacity, for example, the batteries, and the storage and all that. Those are more important than the panels themselves, because once you have the panels and you don't have where to store
I have to explain that there are two. There are three types of market. I have to say. First of all, you have the government market.
Yeah.
Now, with the government market, what the independent power producers do, their job is very simple. They just put a huge solar farm there.
Yeah.
That produces the electricity into the national grid.
Okay.
So it doesn't go into any. It doesn't get stored anywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
It goes
stored.
straight to be consumed.
Grid, yeah. To support the peak consumption, because peak consumption is from about 10 o'clock in the morning to about maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Which is when the solar panels support. But at night, the solar panels are completely useless because they're rollers. There's no sunshine.
So it's the storage that comes in then. Yeah.
The storage doesn't come in at that stage.
Okay.
Then there's another market, which I call the institutional market. Hotels, universities, hospitals. They usually want the power in situ. They want the power for their own building there and then. So you build a solar system for them. That power doesn't go into the natural grid.
Yeah, that's theirs.
It stays with them. And under those circumstances, storage becomes critical.
Yeah.
And the storage immediately pushes up the price of the system because batteries are expensive. And then you have the third market, which is what I call the consumer market, where individuals will buy products like this.
Yeah.
Which basically either they're going to buy, one that produces light or one that they can use to charge, their mobile phones. Those sort of products are sold through the usual wholesale and retail system to individuals. So you have these three markets, but the storage issue only comes in where either a company is buying it for themselves or the individual is buying it for their own personal. But most of what people call installed capacity is these large solar farms that generate electricity straight into the national grid. There's no storage involved under those circumstances.
But again, when looking at the national grid, I would more or less look at because as you're saying, if you're going to take it on such a huge capacity, it will need a huge investment from investors, and most investors will probably say no, it's too risky to gamble on that. Most investors will probably think like that.
The risk is coming down slowly because costs are
coming, and the numbers are.
Yeah, many people predict that solar installation costs will fall by about 59% within the next 8 years.
Yeah.
So the costs are dropping dramatically.
Okay.
And because of that, it's getting to a point now where the investors are no longer worried because the upfront costs are going to be much lower, and they can also charge lower PPA prices. That in the power purchase agreement, I have a company that actually jumped me in a bidding process because they were prepared to accept very, very low PPA prices. Okay. And simply because the solar panels cost next to nothing.
Yeah. Now, are there would I call them charitable organizations that donates, for example, when as far as the industry is concerned, we get charities that are donating clothes, that are donating shoes, and so on and so on. But if there are some of those within the industry, as you have known it, who might say, okay, we give such a village the panels, we give such, but when it comes to that, have you ever explored that area?
It's been going on for years.
Yeah. Have you explored it? Yeah.
The NGOs have been in the solar market for as long as
it has existed.
Remember. Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. They go to the rural areas, the really, really poor rural areas, and they're putting solar systems on clinics, on schools,
roads,
individuals. They are doing that, but that market is not that big.
Oh, it's a very small one.
Yes, a small market.
But what I'm trying to look at is introducing some of our people into that market as well, because the East African market, for example, I know it's a massive market there. It's just that nobody has tapped it in the way you've tried to tap into the West African one, because
the East African market, in terms of installed systems, they install something like 500,000
really
solar home systems. Yeah.
Okay.
Between them, Kenya and Tanzania alone.
Okay.
Have most of, and because of the payment systems. You know, the M-Pesa system.
Okay.
That is used means that now people are leasing the product and paying electronically.
All right.
By the amount of electricity.
By what they use, as they use.
Because before they had to go and take a loan. It was done through microfinance. But now they don't have to go and get the loan anymore. The solar company will come and put the system there.
Okay.
And then they buy the credit in the same way that, you know, they buy mobile phone charge cards.
All right.
So they just buy the credit, switch the system on, and they have the money.
Now,
that market has been growing for years.
It has been growing. Okay. I need to go and look into that because I'm from that part of the world.
It's growing very fast.
I'm from that part of the world, and I'll be very, very keen in finding out what I can do for my village.
It's quite well developed.
Yeah.
In East Africa.
Okay. Now, is there a regulated body that regulates the use, because it's part of the energy world, and like electricity and so on? There are massive bodies that are regulating, and but this one is something which has been there but rather new. Now, I can't just buy a panel and take it to my house and I'll do that. Is there regulation somewhere which governs some kind of weight?
There is.
Yeah.
There are international standards for these solar panels. In the EU, for example, they have the so-called EC label that shows that it has passed the test.
Okay.
And I have to tell you that most of the panels come from China.
Oh, right.
The Chinese have already been able to reach that standard without any difficulty.
So if something goes wrong with the
99.9%,
can we sue them if something goes wrong with the panel?
I mean, a solar panel is not a complex, it's not a complex thing to make, and they usually test them in a factory before they come out, and then most solar panels work.
The reason why I'm saying that,
I've actually never seen a solar panel that doesn't work before, because it's not that complex.
The reason I ask about the regulation of that, a Malawian boy discovered a method of making green, the country green, Malawi green, and with this as kind of a air, using normal air just to produce electricity for his village and all that, and he actually produced a number of rotating panels that bring out energy that has been electricity that has helped the village. But the government of Malawi was asking him, said, look, we need to register this company in a sense that it's regulated by the and I was thinking, what do you mean? What do you mean you need to register this and it's regulated by someone has just discovered something and it's working for the village, they are tapping into the electricity, and you're telling me that you're going to...
So what that young man needs to do is to register the product and have a patent on it, and have the product tested to international standards.
Okay.
Like the IEC, so it has to pass electrical standards, all those things, quality standards are, there are global standards for these things. So once he gets the patent, and the independent labs that test these things. Yeah. So he takes it to the independent lab, it's tested, it's got all the documentation, it's got all the standard,
just go straight away. So
it's good to go.
So it's easier now that anybody can take a solar panel straight away and you store it in the
whatever technology that you have that generates electricity that you create. You need to get the product registered and have a patent, and then make sure that it passes all the international standards that are required, and that's it. So nobody's going to stand in your way. And nobody should stand in. Nobody wants to stand in your way.
Not even your government.
No, the government should not stand in your way. Because if it's free enterprise, and you can create a product that passes the test. So I think what the government wants to do is also to standardize quality, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Maybe that's
so he needs to do it properly. Sometimes our young people, African, they discover things, but they don't take it to the next level. In terms of registering it, having it tested by international independent labs, and having the product registered, patenting it, and actually selling it.
Because they'll tell you this is Africa. If the governments, it's the governments that are supposed to regulate that. But as we're saying, the incompetence which is existing, maybe this is
regulation there. Nigeria, for example, has very, very tight regulation, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yes. I mean, every time I take a product to Nigeria, I have to get what is called a SONCAP certificate.
Oh, really?
Yes, and the SunCap certificate costs $1,000 just to get, and you have to take it to an independent lab recognized by the Nigerian government.
Okay.
They have to test it and bring the reports that the product passes the test before you can bring the product into Nigeria.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't know that.
You run out of money if they've said something.
Well,
if you're
it depends. If you're bringing £500,000 or £1 million worth of products,
yeah,
then you have to get a SunCap for the batch. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But I am for it. I'm for quality.
Yeah.
Because the quality is not there. We're going to experience dumping.
Okay.
Africa has suffered too much dumping over the last 50 years. So I think African countries need to have that.
Okay. Now the best. You've got the advice which you've given, which is quite good, but at the same time also the advantages, because we've talked about the problems that you've explained and yet you've gone through in that, but the advantages and those who are keen and interested in it, because it's one thing, you taking a product, for example, and you find somebody to buy it. You may find that one person, one individual, and not the majority, are going to take it. Who are mainly interested in this? Who are the pioneers who are really so keen on making it that the world gets to know, or the African countries get to have them?
In the first instance, you have to decide which market you're going to target.
All right.
If you're going to go for the government, the government market, they just want you to put the electricity into the national grid. See,
okay.
If you want to go to the institutional market, hotels, hospitals, offices, that's a different story. But if you want to go to what's we call a small home or solar home systems, a small home system, or SHSs,
okay,
that is where people buy a system for their own use at home. Then if you have technology, what you can do is to build systems which you can then lease to the homes, and they just pay on a pay-as-you-go basis. The pay-as-you-go market is really growing at the moment.
Okay, it's okay.
So you have to make sure that on a pay-as-you-go system that you get the money back from the equipment within a certain period, maybe 2 or 3 years.
Now, who are the key buyers of this? The individuals, companies? Is it mainly individuals? Because
solar systems are by nature scalable. I just showed you a small solar panel, a small system. Basically, the principle is the same.
Okay.
Whether it's a megawatt system or it's a small 20-watt system, the principle is the same. You got to have a solar panel to capture the sunlight. Then you got to have some electronics, either an inverter or charge controller to look after the charging and then the discharging. Then you got to have a battery to store and then the load. So the systems are exactly the same whether you're going to the small solar home systems market, or you're going to go to the institutional market, or you're going to go to the government. There is a product or a system for each market. Okay. So you got to decide which market you're interested in. You want to go for, and then develop the products and the services that particular market wants.
Okay. Because looking at that, when you look at schools, for example, this is where I think probably me and the others would encourage you to go for more. I know there is probably not enough money there, but schools, if we go to the schools and introduce the schools and try and educate the schools, because the future engineers, the lawyers and so on, future engineers or people who will handle the African technologies and so on are in the schools. Now, if you take them there, get a government grant, for example. The British can give you a grant, or the American a grant to assist.
There are some grants around, yes.
There are some grants.
Oh, yes. There's EU grants. United Nations grant, government grants, US. There's a lot of grants around. Yeah,
because if you go for that,
I think we should really explore this vision of getting our own African engineers coming out of universities to build solar systems in Africa. That's what the Chinese did. And now the world is buying the solar systems from the Chinese. They started just like Africa. They had nothing. And then they gradually developed the technologies with the knowledge of the physics, and the chemistry behind it. And they developed the systems, and quality improved gradually. So over a period of 10 years now, Chinese solar panels are very, very good indeed. But 15, 20 years ago, people looked and we were buying panels from Germany.
I remember.
And the German solar panels are very expensive.
Of course,
But now the Chinese quality is so good that some of the German solar companies are not bothering to make the solar panels in Germany anymore.
They're making them in China. They're making them in China. Okay.
So I think to solve Africa's problem, this is where we need to look at. We've got intelligence, we've got scientists, we've got we got people who are capable.
Yeah.
Solar systems are not that complicated.
Have you approached African leaders? Because I mean, with the kind of knowledge that you have, the president of Ghana, for example, the president of Tanzania, or the president of any of these top countries would really embrace you. You bring in the idea and said, "Look, this is what I have in mind." I don't know.
Yes, you see, this vision is long term. a lot of these presidents, when they come in, they have only a few years.
Yeah, yeah.
And the people said they want electricity, they want it now.
Yeah.
So he'd rather buy a ready-made one,
yeah,
than to say. So that's why the politicians need to think of the long term.
Yeah.
You see, the Chinese, they thought long term.
Yeah.
There wasn't some politician who just wanted to produce electricity for a village very quickly so that he can get votes.
No.
They should think of the long-term development of the continent and get our engineers to work.
Yeah.
Why are there engineers that have no jobs in Africa? Why? When we're living in darkness, at the moment, we still have nearly half of the African continent without electricity. Even the largest economy in Africa now does not give its people 24 hours electricity. There are parts of Africa where people get 4 hours, 5 hours of electricity a day, and that's it. But why? We need the energy to grow. We got engineers coming out of university with no jobs. Build science academies. Put these engineers there and tell them, build systems that will produce electricity using natural resources that we have. If they had done that 20 years ago, we wouldn't be where we are now, still buying solar panels from China.
There is a starting point on everywhere, and I think the example probably is
if you can set up a few meetings with a few presidents with me, I'll be quite happy to speak to them.
Okay. I was more or less looking at you. Say, look, you can go to the EU and get the grant and tell them, listen, I need a grant. I need to set up a solar panel in Ghana, for example, or in Nigeria, and then you explain exactly. But I have a feeling that they'll probably listen to you more than they'll listen to a person like me.
Well, yes,
because you've been in the industry for a long time, and I'm looking at that. And saying,
that's proper capacity building. Growing the industry. Actually. Making the industry work. I think that is something I'm really interested in. And it's something that we need to serious. People have talked about these things, but nobody has actually done it.
Exactly.
And
there's always a first time anyway.
And some of our brilliant engineers are actually going abroad to work. but there's plenty of work for us.
I know,
especially in the energy sector. Do you know that Africa needs to double its energy production in order to keep up with demand by 2030? We need to produce double the electricity that we're producing now by 2030 if we're going to keep up. And remember, electric cars are coming.
They're here.
By 2040, most of the petrol and diesel cars will disappear from the world. And then where does Africa stand? Because we don't even have enough electricity to light up our homes, to light up our schools and our hospitals. Where are we going to get the electricity to run these electric cars when they come on? So somebody needs to wake up and say, my goodness me, we have to think long term and we need to move quickly. So because in just 20 years time, there will be no petrol and diesel cars in the world.
When you look at the future as it does, but I think we are the sort of people who wake up when something has gone missing. It's a typical thing sometimes. You're in your home and suddenly, the power has gone. Then you wake up and they said, no, I need to make sure that I get the power. The continent is like that. Certain things, you can think, maybe we'll do away with that. That's why we always look at our politicians and we don't look at the business people, the entrepreneurs who are going left and right to try and, that is why whenever I get a chance, I say, you try and do something, then maybe the others will follow.
Our politicians need to think long term. Because short termism is destroying the continent, and many countries are just marking time, standing on the same spot, and they're getting deeper and deeper into debt.
Yeah, I know.
Our economies, most of African economies, are still at the primary stage, when they should be at the secondary stage, like places like China, Brazil, and so on, who are becoming industrialized. Africa can easily industrialize. We have all the materials. Other countries are coming to buy the materials from Africa,
yeah,
and
true.
making
It's
products
true.
and selling them back to Africa. And this has been going on for years. This has been going on for 100 years.
Yeah, I know.
So why can't Africans use the natural resources to make their own products and sell it to the rest of the world? China is a very good example. I keep citing China, but China succeeded because China has a long-term vision.
Yeah.
There's no politician who just want to produce electricity quickly for somebody to win votes. They think of the long-term development of the country. Do you know that China was building motorways and petrol stations many years ago when they didn't even have enough cars to use them?
Yeah.
They were building bridges and railways when the actual capacity was not there. And now the capacity is there, the infrastructure is ready.
Because they had already built them. The roads had already been built.
Do the same thing. So we need to build, and it's particularly what's alarming is that when electric cars come on song, we're not ready. I mean, we don't. Africa don't have enough electricity to run their homes, to charge their mobile phones.
How are they going to run the car?
Where would the electricity come from to charge the car? So we need to move very quickly, and that's the reason why I'm really excited about the technology that companies like EcoGen that I'm working with are much better than solar power, because they can produce electricity 24 hours a day, non-stop. Non-stop, and we give 10 years warranty. So the technology is already there. We now require that penetration, and I think a lot of the penetration, some of it will have to come from government, some of it will also have to come from investors. But Africa's fundamental problem of where many African countries have a poor credit rating,
that's where the problem is.
It's also preventing the investment from coming forth. Therefore, the only way to circumvent that is to make the things ourselves. The Africans have to make
the issue of making them is a very good one, because you are, I think, the third or fourth person I've had who has come up with the whole idea of us actually doing that, which is a very good idea. But like most of the time, there's always a starting point. The starting point could be with you. Now I'm looking at you. You're a very good investor. You've gone into this industry. You've grown up in it. You've seen what it is. What would be the easiest option to go to an industry and tell them that, you can do ABCD, like an advisor, a kind of an advisor, and say, look, you have this mango industry. It's a massive one. But have you thought you could save more by doing this kind of energy, so and so? Or if I do ABCD, because I know you, if you have to start it, trust me, I think you will. It's the willpower.
I'm seriously thinking about it.
If you have to start it's there.
Because I can't see how Africa is going to survive for the next 30 years with the development that it wants to do. You need electricity.
Of course.
You need clean power. Renewable energy technologies do exist, but at the moment, like we've been saying, the cost is quite high. But Africa can develop its own. And or they can even begin with what is available, but then they need to think long term.
I know. But another thing that I have to look at, because during the climate conference in Paris, part of what was suggested by a former American vice president, Al Gore, part of the suggestion he made was that, let's look at the big four polluters and tell them that, listen, we need to get about 2 or 3 billion from you. And that money, once we've got it from you, is going to go to the third world countries, and we deal with the pollution in those areas. If we are to make those countries green so that they don't come to the level that we are in, we have to pay them in a sense that most of this would be paid for. What we're suggesting here could be paid for by them. And it's ironic because some African countries didn't support him. And I got a big shock like that.
I can see your angle, because global warming is not a local problem.
No, of course it isn't.
It's the accumulation of all the
gases,
the carbon emissions around the world.
Exactly.
So whether Africa likes it or not,
it will affect them.
Africa is going to suffer from global warming. At the moment, do you know that deserts, part of Africa, more and more parts of Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa,
Yeah.
the desert is actually growing.
Yeah, because they cut
Yeah.
down so many trees. Yeah.
The desert is actually growing because the
Yeah.
world is getting warmer. And hydro, that most African countries dependent on to produce electricity, depends on water levels.
Yeah, yeah.
And water levels have been gradually dropping
Going
in
down,
Africa as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
So people need to think quick and say that hydro can no longer serve. The desert is coming, but the desert is good news because desert means sun, more sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it means more sun, but the problem is you're not good. You are going to have the sun, but you have all the other plants gone.
I have something quite well. Let me tell you how the plants will survive, because the solar panels will become a roof.
Or to cover the plants.
It will become a roof, and you can graze animals underneath it. You know, you can grow crops underneath. Of course, the crops need sunshine.
Yeah, yeah.
They will get it, and in some cases, some really environmentally friendly arrangements have been made that are really impressive, where, for example, the solar panels are raised quite high so animals can graze underneath it.
Yeah. Well,
You know, and you can have also, and every building, every factory can have solar panels on top of it.
I've seen that thing. I think Morocco is trying to do
Morocco,
something.
Algeria are doing amazing
Morocco and
things.
Algeria, they're trying to do something about. They're using the sun, but the thing is we still need water. We still need all those things. That the trees are still very vital as far as we are concerned. They're really vital to keep us. We don't want the desert to come in the way it is. Yeah, it might affect.
It's just where the world is going. The ice is melting.
Yeah, yeah.
So even what we need to do, I know we're not talking about water here,
Yeah.
but we can use solar energy to actually purify seawater and use it.
Ah, really?
Of course.
That's a new one again. Yeah.
So the solar, the seawater can be purified quite cheaply.
Okay.
By using solar energy.
You know everything.
Yeah, you can use the solar energy, purify seawater and use it.
Yeah.
Because there's still more sea on this planet. There's more water on this planet than land.
Of course, yeah.
And as global warming increases, the sea levels are rising.
Yeah,
so let's take some of that water and bring it to the dry land.
It would be nice, but then we'll probably end up in water, most of us. So we don't want that. We want them to remain where they are and work on. Yeah. The thing is your future plans. What is in your future plans as far as this is concerned?
The future plans is really Sangel Technologies has found a great partner, EcoGen.
Okay.
And we have the most amazing technology. It's amazing. It's world changing.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine a system that combines solar panels with normal magnetic generators that spin around?
Okay.
Plus lithium-ion batteries and manufactured wind to produce electricity 24 hours a day non-stop, 365 days.
In a layman's language, how does that happen? Because if it's going to be the sun and the production, because what I know is that obviously the solar panels get the electricity, get the energy from the sun. Then the panel that you're talking about
stored in the lithium-ion battery within the system. So we have a system that's standing there, like 7 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot.
Okay.
Box. Solar panels on top. Take the solar panels, charge the lithium-ion, battery. Okay. Then the lithium-ion battery uses this amazing technology.
Okay.
To keep the motor spinning around and generating electricity.
So even if even when
the sun goes out at night, the lithium-ion batteries
will keep the
thing spinning, the motor spinning, and generating electricity. So it generates electricity 24 hours a day.
Okay.
So it's like you're combining a regular generator, except in this case you're not putting diesel, you're not putting petrol.
Yeah. But
you have lithium-ion batteries, you have the sunshine charging the lithium-ion batteries, and lithium-ion batteries keep the generator running 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's interesting. But
and therefore the plan is to accelerate the penetration of this, because I feel that Africa is not ready for the next generation, next revolution in energy.
Okay.
Electric cars, and there's not even enough electricity to light up homes and factories and produce the energy that is required to grow Africa, let alone to charge electric cars. And so it means that the solar panels alone will not be able to do the job.
I know,
especially if we want to stop using gas
yeah,
and diesel to power electricity, generators, then and the solar panels alone will not be able to do the job. You need cleverer technology, and that's what we have at the moment.
Okay, which is we're coming towards the end of the program, and your ideas are extremely been grateful to anybody who has listened to these ideas, and I believe you've been in touch with so many of us now running to you because we need this technology, especially in our villages. How soon can this one be ready for the 24-hour one? Because I'm sure about that, because if that one is ready,
somebody signs a contract with me today, the system will be ready and running within 9 months.
Okay,
and each system, each unit produces 60 kilowatts.
My goodness.
Yeah, per hour, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
How much money are we talking about here?
We're talking roughly in the region of about $500,000 US for the unit.
Okay.
But in terms of payback period,
no, I thought it was a little bit of money so that I can afford to be of help.
Yeah. In terms of payback period,
yeah,
this system pays for itself quicker than a solar farm pays for itself.
Oh, right.
Because for a solar farm, you need about 25 years, right?
Yeah.
But with this system, you can actually get your money back in about 10 years. Because you're producing electricity 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Compared to the solar panels, that only produce electricity 5 to 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
So you can do the sums.
I can see that, Chris. I'm talking about I'm talking about the level of people like me, and where we can
the way that can work is that groups of people can buy the unit and share it. A housing estate can buy the unit and give the electricity to the people who live on the housing estate and build them.
I think I'll take you on that, Chris. I'll take you on that because I think a number of people who have been listening will do that.
A town can come together and buy it for the town. A village can come together and buy it.
All right, Chris, I'll take you on that. We've come to the end of today's program, and I just want to thank Chris here for coming and explaining this energy issue all to us, and I'm sure that you've learned a lot. You can get in touch with him if you need and you need to take this to your villages and so on, because it's very, very important that we, as he said, we start planning for the next 30 years in Africa, because otherwise we're going to be left behind. I just want to thank Omega TV again for the sponsorship of this program, and I do hope we'll be together again next week for another edition of Africa Speaks. Thank you very much for viewing us, and may God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.